Welcome to Whispers of the Web, where the hidden gems of the web come to life. Join us as we unravel the most fascinating tales, secrets, and discussions from across the web. Every whisper has a story. If you enjoy our journey through the whispers of the web, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the intrigue. Story number 1. Am I the a-hole for not telling the nurse at my niece's school about my profession? I, 29 female, was supposed to pick up my niece, Sophie 7 female, from elementary school and spend a day with her. It was all mentioned before to the school, and I've picked her up a few times before. Sophie was running towards me, but unfortunately she tripped and fell down. Her knee was bruised and she started crying like crazy. I took her to the nurse's office immediately. The nurse was in her early 20s and helped Sophie with cleaning up her wound and dressing. I tell my niece a lot about my line of work, so she asked if she was going to need stitches, if so, how many and what kind, etc. The nurse was impressed. She showed Sophie a few items of equipment she had and asked if Sophie wanted to be a nurse like her. Sophie said no, she wanted to be a doctor like her aunt, aka me. The nurse got a bit upset and asked me why I didn't say anything about this. I was honestly confused. I was like, why would I need to even mention it? I even threw in a compliment saying she was quite good at her job and I enjoyed witnessing a professional at work. She said I was being too generous with my comments. I told her I was being honest and thanked her for taking care of Sophie's knee. Right when Sophie and I were leaving, she said she'd never be able to guess my line of work correctly because I look better than most of my colleagues. I thanked her again and said I appreciated her help. She said I still owed her for not telling her my job and that it felt like I was testing her or deliberately trying to see how she was doing. I apologized and said that was not what I meant, and that I knew she was more than capable of doing her job well. She said maybe I could find a way to make it up to her properly, and I was like, sure, but Sophie and I need to go now. I don't know if I was rude, but this had me thinking, should I have told her about my job? Edit. I'd like to thank everyone for their lovely comments and making me realize what was going on this whole time. I'll post an update if anything interesting happens in subsequent days. Thanks again. Am I the a-hole for not telling the nurse at my niece's school about my profession? Update. Hi everyone. First of all, thanks for your lovely comments on my original post. I appreciate every single one, and I would like to thank everyone who took the time to give their input on the situation. As you could see in the original post, I was absolutely clueless during the whole interaction and missed the flirting part altogether. So I took your advice, asked my sister to let me babysit Sophia again, and picked her up from school. Around 10 minutes before school was over, I went to the nurse's office with a bouquet of flowers and thanked the nurse for taking care of my niece's knee and asked her if I had the opportunity to make up for my rudeness from the last visit. Thankfully, she agreed. We went on a date last night. It included a late evening walk by the beach and dinner. By the end of the night I showed her the post, and I think it is safe to say she was as amused as every single one of the commenters, and she can barely stop teasing me about it. So overall, thank you so much for your comments and help. Story number 2. Am I the a-hole for backing out of babysitting a friend's kids at the last minute? I feel like I can admit that I am one of the a-holes in this situation, but I guess I want to know if it's justified or not. So a week ago, I got a phone call from someone I would consider a friend. We're not super close, but we're friendly, and get together with the same group of friends a lot. She called and said that her kids were talking about how much fun they have with mine, and wanted to know if we were free this coming Saturday, a week and a half away at the time. My kids really do like her kids, and I want to be better friends with her as well, so I said sure. She was relieved, and said her husband would be out of town, and she needed a babysitter from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I felt like it was a major bait, and switched because I thought she wanted to do something altogether. But I felt bad backing out when I had already told her I was completely free that day. I should have said something right then, but I didn't. Well, yesterday I ran into a friend of mine and she asked if I was excited for Saturday. I thought that was weird because no, I'm not excited to babysit someone else's kids for 14 hours. but I said my kids were definitely excited. She said, "Oh good, is your husband taking them to do something fun? Or who is watching them?" To which I made a face and responded that I was watching them, and then she was the one who was confused and said, "So you're not coming?" Well, last week I didn't go to the end of year PTA meeting because I had just started my period and I felt crummy and didn't want to go. I guess after the fact, some friends went out to lunch. They decided to plan a big girls' day to relax before the kids are back home all day for the summer. Going to the city, shopping, pedicures, eating at nice restaurants, etc. And when it was brought up that I would probably love to go too, this friend said she needed to talk to me about some PTA stuff I missed, so she would tell me about it when she called me. But instead, she decided to use me as her babysitter. So I called the friend and told her I wasn't aware of the girls' day at the time, and that I wouldn't be able to watch her kids after all. She asked if my husband could watch her kids too, which was a no. She started crying that she really needed this, and what would she do now since her husband won't be home and it's too late to find someone willing to watch 5 kids for 14 hours, with no pay. And then once the tears weren't working, she just got angry. She said it was rude to back out of a commitment just so I could selfishly do something fun, and how I'm an awful friend. My friends are all feeling super uncomfortable with the whole thing. We're all typically a very happy, drama-free friend group, so I know no one wants to take sides, and now I'm wondering if I even go at all. So am I the a-hole for backing out of watching her kids when I committed to it already? Edit. I'm not sure how it works to add an update, so there is an update in the comments if anyone is interested. Update. I had someone ask for an update on what I ended up doing yesterday, so here it is. I followed the advice from a lot of you to talk to one of the friends I'm closer to in the group, Sarah, to kind of get a feel for what was going on. Sarah said she was kind of frustrated with everyone. After I had run into the friend, her name is Casey, to make it less confusing, Casey had filled everyone in on what had happened. They all agreed that the mean friend, Jenny, shouldn't have lied or tricked me into watching her kids, but they all sympathize with her. I guess it is Jenny's 15th anniversary this weekend, but her husband forgot and had planned a boys' camping trip. So she was sad and angry with her husband, and they all knew she would really need a little getaway to cheer her up. Though it doesn't sound like anyone blamed me for not babysitting. They were disappointed for her, and put all of their energy into making a plan for her to still be able to go. No one really seemed to bat an eye whether I was going to go or not, or care that I was sad, except for Sarah. However, when it came time to make final plans for everything, someone decided to do the math and realized that if I was going to come, we would no longer all fit into the Suburban my friend Kim was going to drive. It's a 2-hour drive to the city, so taking one vehicle was definitely ideal. Sarah volunteered to drive her car and we would just take 2, but it all just felt so forced and so uncomfortable that I just ended up backing out. I mentioned in a few of my comments that I have always known I'm not one of the most involved friends in the group, but I've known most of them for almost a decade, so I guess I thought there was more substance to our friendship than they all did. I don't think any of them have anything against me or dislike me, but I'm realizing I'm just not that important to them. It was pretty disappointing, and it definitely opened my eyes. So that all happened on Thursday, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty heartbroken by it all. The next day when my husband came home for lunch, he told me to hurry and pack an overnight bag, because he had booked a hotel room for me and my sister-in-law to go have our own girls' night. His mom and sister pulled up an hour later so his mom could watch the kids after my husband went back to work. And his sister, who is seriously just the best, and I had the best 24-hour getaway ever. Some people can be real jerks. I just feel so dang lucky that my husband and family aren't. Story number 3. Am I the a-hole for walking out of an event when my fiancée introduced me as a bookkeeper? I, female 45, have a fiancé, male 55, who is a retired military officer. I own a successful company I started 7 years ago, and have a small staff of 25. I worked my way through college paying as I went. Therefore, I graduated in my early 30s with a double major in accounting and business management. I am very proud of that. For a little background, I worked hard for my degrees and have 0 debt. I know it took me longer than the typical student going full-time to college after high school. I worked full-time to pay as I took classes. I went to junior college first, then finished at a 4-year. I took 2 classes per semester, for a long time, but I finally made it. I have been teased that junior college isn't the same as going 4 years at a major university. Well, I am proud to have done both and feel the education I received at junior college was excellent. I worked as an accountant for some large corporations, as well as programming and IT. I started my company doing similar support to large and small companies alike. I have a wonderful staff. I manage the contracts, kick-off meetings, sales and consulting staff. I also do some of the consulting and most of the sales and contracts. My sister is my office manager, and I am blessed in so many ways to have her. I was dating my now fiancée before I started my company, and we recently got engaged. Everything seemed to be perfect, except he keeps introducing me as a bookkeeper. No disrespect intended to them or the profession. My issue is that I have worked hard to get where I am. I am an accountant, graduate with a double major, and successful business owner. He could pick almost any other title to introduce me as, but he chooses bookkeeper. I have asked him many times in private to stop calling me a bookkeeper, as it implies to my clients and business associates that he doesn't respect me or what I have accomplished. He said he doesn't see the big deal or the difference and continues to do so. I recently pulled him aside and asked him to just introduce me as a consultant at the event we were going to. While there we were talking to a prospective client for my company and he says, "She has come a long way for a bookkeeper." I know my face had a full blush at that. I excused myself and walked away. We had both driven there, so I got in my car and went home. We both own our own townhomes. I sent him a text to let him know I was leaving and would talk to him later. He thinks I am overreacting. My family thinks he is a controlling jerk that doesn't respect me or women. I'm not sure what to think now. He seems so supportive when we are together, but not when we are around other people. He tends to treat me like a subordinate, nice kid, playing with the adults. He does talk down to me in front of my family, but I always assumed he was joking badly. So am I the a-hole for leaving and overreacting? Edit. Update. I had a conversation with him after a few days. He feels I'm lucky to have him and need to listen to his advice more and not overreact. The attitude along with reading everyone's replies, "Thanks," I have called it off with him. I need someone who is proud of me and caring. My family responded by buying champagne. Edit 2. Had another conversation with the ex-fiancé. Now that I had time to get my emotions under control, he was willing to let it go. I laughed and told him I'm fine and so are my emotions. I told him about the post and that he should read the replies. Let's just say he was not happy. I did say no names were used, just me, I, and he. Here is the total shocking part. He wanted to know what I was going to give him for his help with my company. After the shock wore off, I handed him $1 and walked away. Told the family, and my brothers wanted to pay him a visit. I told them I handled it and gave him $1. We all laughed, went to the store and got more champagne. God, I love my family. Thank you for joining us for today's journey through the whispers of the web. Share your thoughts and suggestions for our next adventure. If you're not yet a part of our whispering community, click the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications to never miss out on another story. Join us next time as we uncover another enthralling tale from the web. Until our next whisper.